Start. MTC. Day 15, Number 1. Crowdfunding is a new and more collaborative way to secure funding for projects. It can be used in different ways, such as requesting donations for a worthy cause anywhere in the world and generating funding for a project with the contributors then becoming partners in the project. In essence, crowdfunding is the fusion of social networking and venture capitalism. In just the same way as social networks have rewritten the conventional rules about how people communicate and interact with each other, crowdfunding in all its variations has the potential to rewrite the rules on how businesses and other projects get funded in the future. Crowdfunding can be viewed as the democratization of business financing. Instead of restricting capital sourcing and allocation to a relatively small and fixed minority, crowdfunding empowers everyone connected to the Internet to access both the collective wisdom and the pocket money of everyone else who connects to the Internet. MTC. Good job. Let's start. MTC. Day 15, Number 2. Are the different types of mobile device, smartphones, and tablets, substitutes or complements? Let's explore this question by considering the case of Madeline and Alexandra, two users of these devices. Madeleine Alexandra. Madeline uses her tablet to take notes in class. Madeleine. These notes are synced to her smartphone wirelessly, via a cloud computing service, allowing Madeline to review her notes on her phone during the bus trip home. Madeleine. Alexandra uses both her phone and tablet to surf the Internet, write emails, and check social media. Alexandra. Both of these devices allow Alexandra to access online services when she is away from her desktop computer. Alexandra. For Madeline, smartphones and tablets are complements. Madeleine. She gets greater functionality out of her two devices when they are used together. For Alexandra, they are substitutes. Alexandra. Both smartphones and tablets fulfill more or less the same function in Alexandra's life. Alexandra. This case illustrates the role that an individual consumer's behavior plays in determining the nature of the relationship between two goods or services. MTC. Good job. Let's start. MTC. Day 15, Number 3. Attitude has been conceptualized into four main components: affective, feelings of liking or disliking; cognitive, beliefs and evaluation of those beliefs; behavioral intention, a statement of how one would behave in a certain situation; and behavior. Public attitudes toward a wildlife species and its management are generated based on the interaction of those components. In forming our attitudes toward wolves, people strive to keep their affective components of attitude consistent with their cognitive component. For example, I could dislike wolves, I believe they have killed people, cognitive belief, and having people killed is of course bad, evaluation of belief. The behavioral intention that could result from this is to support a wolf control program, and actual behavior may be a history of shooting wolves. In this example, all aspects of attitude are consistent with each other, producing a negative overall attitude toward wolves. MTC. Good job. Let's start. MTC. Day 15, Number 4. Like the physiological discoveries of the late 19th century, today's biological breakthrough has fundamentally altered our understanding of how the human organism works and will change medical practice fundamentally and thoroughly. 19. The word breakthrough, however, seems to imply in many people's minds an amazing, unprecedented revelation that, in an instant, makes everything clear. Science doesn't actually work that way. Remember the scientific method, which you probably first learned about back in elementary school. It has a long and difficult process of observation, hypothesis, experiment, testing, modifying, retesting, and retesting again and again and again. That's how science works, and the breakthrough understanding of the relationship between our genes and chronic disease happened in just that way, building on the work of scientists from decades, even centuries ago. In fact, it is still happening. The story continues to unfold as the research presses on. MTC. Good job. Let's start. MTC. Day 15, number 5. In the US, regional styles of speech have always been associated with regional styles of building. The Midwestern farmhouse, the Southern plantation mansion, and the Cape Cod cottage all have their equivalent in spoken dialect. Cape Cod. These buildings may be old and genuine, or they may be recent reproductions, the equivalent of an assumed rather than a native accent. As James Kunstler says, half-baked versions of Scarlett O'Hara's Tara now stand replicated in countless suburban subdivisions around the United States. James Kunstler, Scarlett O'Hara Tara. In some cities and towns, especially where tourism is an important part of the economy, zoning codes may make a sort of artificial authenticity compulsory. Houses in the historic district of Key West, Florida, for example, whether new or remodeled, must be built of wood in a traditional style, and there are only a few permissible colors of paint, white being preferred. Key West. From the street these houses may look like the simple sea captain's mansions they imitate. Inside, however, where zoning does not reach, they often contain modern lighting and state-of-the-art kitchens and bathrooms. MTC. Good job. Let's start. MTC. Day 15, number 6. There is a reason why so many of us are attracted to recorded music these days, especially considering personal music players are common and people are listening to music through headphones a lot. Recording engineers and musicians have learned to create special effects that tickle our brains by exploiting neural circuits that evolved to discern important features of our auditory environment. These special effects are similar in principle to 3D art, motion pictures, or visual illusions, none of which have been around long enough for our brains to have evolved special mechanisms to perceive them. 3D. Rather, 3D art, motion pictures, and visual illusions leverage perceptual systems that are in place to accomplish other things. 3D. Because they use these neural circuits in novel ways, we find them especially interesting. The same is true of the way that modern recordings are made. MTC. Good job.